Okay.
Box and all the peanut gallery down there.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is 1:31, but we are down a commissioner, so we're waiting a few minutes so we can get a quorum.
One would be nice. Who waiting on? Rusty? Rusty? The dog. Rusty.
That's all right. Thank you.
U.S. government's favorite debt limit is cost.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the May 25th meeting of the Oklahoma City Planning Commission. Just a few housekeeping items. If you have a cell phone on you, please make sure that it is on silent. If you have an item that you're here to speak on, we have some forms outside for you to sign up. If you have those, you can give those to the fine folks down here in front. When your item is heard, you will be called on. We ask that you come to the podium to speak and give your name and address for the record. With that, we can go ahead and move to our first item, which is the receipt of the minutes of the May 11th meeting. Do I have a motion to receive the minutes?
I'll move.
Motion to receive the minutes from Commissioner Privet. Do I have a second? Seconded by Commissioner Govine. Please cast your votes.
Oh, wait, actually,
Almost there.
I wasn't there. Abstain. If I abstain, do the minutes pass? Council, what should I do on that? I usually abstain when I wasn't at the meeting, then I probably shouldn't even made the motion, but you need my vote, so, yeah.
You can vote to approve them if you'd like.
Okay.
If you're not
Yeah, I didn't have any issues with them, no. Good, all right.
It's a good 7 minutes.
Riveting.
All right. Are we,
I think we're good.
okay, there we go. All right. Are we missing?
Rusty?
Voice vote? Aye. All right. Thank you. All right. Receive the minutes passes. Moving on to the next item, item 3, continuance requests. Mr. Butler, will you read the uncontested continuance requests?
Yes, item 19, PC 10878, defer to June 22nd. Item 20, case CPA 23-02, defer to June 22nd. Item 21, case PUD 1950, defer to June 22nd. Item 22, case SPUD 1509, defer to June 22nd. Item 23, case PC 10864, defer to July 13th. Item 24, case C7511, defer to July 13th. Item 25, PC 10878 has been withdrawn. Item 26, SPUD 1494 has been withdrawn. Item 27, case PUD 1936 has been withdrawn.
Okay. Is there anyone by chance here to speak on any of those items? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve the continuance requests?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve the uncontested requests.
All right, I have a motion from Commissioner Govine to approve the uncontested continuance requests, and it's been seconded by Commissioner Noble. Please cast your votes. And that item passes. Next item is new continuance requests.
Item 13, case SPUD 1523, request to defer to July 13th. Item 15, case PC 10879, defer to July 27th. Item 16, case PUD 1946, defer to June 22nd. And item 18, case PUD 1949, defer to June 22nd.
Is there anyone here to speak on any of those items? All right, seeing none, can I get a motion for the new continuance requests?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve the new continuance request.
We have a motion from Commissioner Govine to grant the new continuance requests. Do I have a second? We're buffering. And it's been seconded by Commissioner Noble. Please cast your votes when available. And that item passes. All right, item 4, public hearings. The first item is the consent docket.
Item 1 is case C 7556, final plat of Edge Creek Commercial, located north of Northwest 150th Street and west of North Portland Avenue.
Do we have anyone here to speak on that item? Seeing none, can I get a motion for the consent docket, please?
Oh. Sorry, I couldn't hear that. Ready for a motion?
Yes.
I move to recommend approval of item number 1.
We have a motion from Commissioner Govine to approve the consent docket. Do I have a second? I think we're having,
Waiting on the screen. There it is.
all right, it's been seconded by Commissioner Noble. Please cast your votes when available. Do we need to do a voice vote?
We got everybody but you.
It's me. It's not coming up, so I need to do a voice vote. I vote aye.
Ah, there it goes.
All right, and the consent docket passes. Next item are individual items to be heard. Item 2, Mr. Butler.
Item 2 is case PC 10885, application to rezone 1422 Northwest 115th Street from R1.
Good afternoon, David Box, 522 Colcord Drive. This is an R2 application that is compatible with the surrounding zoning. We'd ask for your approval.
Thank you. As this is Commissioner Pennington's ward and he is not here, Mr. Govine, would you like to?
Lead off on the discussion. I do not have any specific questions or concerns, but I would open it up to other commissioners. And do we have anyone signed up to speak on this item?
I do not have anyone signed up to speak. And I have no further questions or comments on the item.
I will move to recommend approval of PC 10885.
We have a motion to recommend approval to City Council of item PC 10885. It's been seconded by Commissioner Noble. Please cast your votes. That item passes. Item number 3.
This is PUD 1951, application to rezone 16160 North Morgan Road from AA.
Once again, David Box, 522 Colcord Drive. This is a PUD that retains the AA base and simply adds one use. That use is the participant recreation entertainment indoor. What my client intends to do is have a karate gym, and so everything will be inside, which is why we added just that one use unit. So be happy to answer any questions. Mr. Privett's got it. No TEs.
This is Ward 1. I don't have any questions and don't have any discussion items, but I'm unable to make the motion.
I will move to approve case number, where are we at, PUD 1951.
A motion to recommend approval to City Council
Yep.
of item PUD 1951. It's been seconded by Commissioner Govine. Please cast your votes when available.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 4.
Item 4 is SPUD 1528, application to rezone 3514 North MacArthur Boulevard from C3 Community Commercial.
Good afternoon. My name is Charles Allen with Allen Engineering, representing the applicant. The owner, Dan Maxey, and the owners of the Zodiac Club, Michelle and Colin Wilkins, and one of their employees, Tristan, who's their night bartender at the Zodiac Club. This is an existing shopping center that's divided into 2 properties. The Zodiac Club was located on the south half of the property, and their lease was up March 1st of this year, so they've been out of business for 3 months now almost. So going through, they're moving to the north building, which is attached, and so there's a change of use. They also needed a special permit since it's a bar. Got me involved, looked at the site plan. We're short on parking. We've got about 25 parking spaces, need about 40 with this. The Zodiac Club's going to take up about 3,000 square feet. So with that, we met with, or discussed with staff what the best way to approach not only a special permit, but also the shortage on parking. And so here we are today with the SPUD. We met with Janice Powers on, I think, April 18th. She didn't have any problem with the shortage in parking. A lot of the people that go to the Zodiac Club are, first of all, it's kind of a pool hall more than, just a local bar. So they've got some unique pool tables there that accept cash and also have a pay app. So it's kind of a unique situation. She didn't have any problem with the shortage in parking. With your Uber and Lyft these days, a lot of people don't even drive to a bar anymore. So, which is a good thing. There are a lot of people that live in the surrounding neighborhood that are also frequent the bar. So, with that, happy to answer any questions. Like I said, the owner, the Zodiac Club, and the shopping center are both here today. I would like to add, though, that, the Zodiac Club was incorporated, I guess, in 1969, so it's been around a little over 50 years. Michelle's mother bought it in 2002, and like I said, they haven't been open now for about 3 months, so time is kind of the essence here, so anything that we can do to push that along would be appreciated. They're raising 2 grandchildren. This is their only source of income. Happy to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you. This is Commissioner Powers' ward, and she is unable to be with us today. I was not made aware of any concerns or comments that she had on the application. Commissioners, are there any other commissioners that have questions or comments?
Does
existing business.
the previous special permit, does it just expire and go away, and then we replace with this one? Or is it still in place?
I'm not sure about that.
Sarah Welch, Planning Department. They're actually physically moving just a couple doors down, and we can't sign off on a license unless they have the zoning in place to allow for the drinking establishment use.
Yeah, I just meant
Is the
the
existing
other
one
part that
staying
they're
with the existing property?
vacating.
They're,
The vacating part is a special permit.
I'm not aware that there is
Still
a special
valid.
permit on that property,
There's not, okay,
the one that they're vacating.
okay, all right, cool.
Seeing as staff didn't identify any compatibility issues, if there's no one here to speak on this item other than the applicant, I'm in support of it.
Okay. Is there anyone, I'll just confirm that if there is anyone here to speak, would like to be heard. I see none.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve SPUD 1528.
The motion from
Recommend.
Commissioner Govine to recommend approval of item SPUD 1528, City Council. It's been seconded by Commissioner Privet. Please cast your votes when available. And that item passes. Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
Takes us to item 5.
Item 5 is SPUD 1529, application to rezone 2020 Northwest 23rd Street from R1 and Gatewood Urban Conservation Overlay.
Rob Elliott, Elliott Architects at 900 Northwest 6th Street.
Our client, iCare, would like to develop a small urgent clinic at this location and needs to go through the rezoning process. There's one TE regarding signage, and we agreed to the TE.
Okay. Commissioner Govine, this is your ward.
I've had a chance to visit with the applicant. Let's see, I need to review my notes here briefly. No visible dumpsters is mentioned in the packet. I understand you've spoken with the operator. They don't intend to have dumpsters. They intend to use polycarts?
Yes, sir.
And will they have a place to put those?
We will, in
Is
the
it-
rear of the
So they'll
south
be
side of
stored
property.
behind the building,
Or
kind of out of
screened,
sight?
yes.
Screened, okay. And let's see, full, lighting and light pollution was another one that was just a concern of mine with the proximity to the residential behind us. Did we cover that in your write-up? Let's see.
No, sir, I think it's only that lighting will comply with the current ordinance, but I don't think there's any specific mention about cutoff.
Would you be amenable to adding a TE that basically reads, the normal kind of language when it comes to lighting of sort of full cutoff fixtures shall be used, no wall packs face, toward the residential, adjacent residential, I guess, to the south.
Sure.
The concern would be there'd be a wall pack in the back for security, and it's shining right in someone's backyard. So I live very close to this, so I'm particularly sensitive to this site because I drive through there, so I'm aware of how some of the other neighbors have had some of these new commercial properties developing on 23rd. They've been concerned. So,
Sure, that's agreeable.
okay, that's agreeable, and we'll get the wording of that down right in just a moment. And screening of rooftop equipment's already included, so that's good. You also know we talked about alley improvements, but we're going to leave that to the developers to decide, what they want to do.
It needs it.
It certainly needs it, but it's not going to be a requirement of this SPUD, but certainly something to think about. So is anyone here to speak on this item?
I do not have anyone signed up to speak, but
do
we
have
do have someone in the back. That's all right. Please come forward, give your name and address for the record, and if you have not completed.
I did fill out a sheet.
Okay,
so-
great.
Okay, perfect. All right, I'm Dane Korber. I live at 2025 Northwest 22nd Street. That's about 2 houses down from this development. A couple weeks ago, there was a SPUD that was approved kind of behind the other 4 properties nearest to this. This SPUD, in fact, isn't adhering to kind of what that SPUD said. We weren't going to do any parking in the front on 23rd Street. This has parking. My biggest concern with this is I understand that these are going to happen, but they already tore down the building for it. I don't understand why the building's already torn down before it had SPUD approval. Another thing on top of this is I just don't think there's enough parking or space for an urgent care. I have a master's of health administration. Typically, if you have 1 room, you need at least 3 parking spots per room in a clinic that you're going to see for all the people going in and out. In urgent cares, sometimes they'll see people that will come with a bus. So sometimes people will do 2 spots, I think, in California, but here typically we try to do at least 3 per hospital facility. Another concern is that you'll have probably 3 to 4 employees with this. So where are the employees going to park? If they're going to have 2 clinics here, that's 6 spaces right there. They only have 1 space for handicapped, and if you're in urgent care, you're probably going to need more than 1 handicap space. I'm concerned for parking and space. I think this lot is frankly not big enough for an urgent care center.
One of the things I'll ask the applicant to clarify is I thought I heard it was an I urgent care. Is that correct?
The name, sir, is iCare, small I, capital C-A-R. That's the name of their corporation.
Okay.
And
So it's
I
an,
think it means
It's a-
optical.
Parking in the,
To my knowledge, I looked this up. This is an LLC that's only existed for about a year and a half. They've opened up about 5 locations in the city. Those 5 locations in the city are kind of located in strip malls. So a lot of the parking that they have and things that they've messed with have been in strip malls. They've never had parking where they just have their own parking. So I just don't know if they know exactly how many people they go to and for. I was just naming concerns that I have. Urgent cares, typically if you have one, now this is an urgent care, not necessarily a doctor's office, so it just depends on your clinic rooms that you have. But if you have more than 2 clinic rooms here and 4 employees, I think you need at least 10 parking spots. And frankly, there aren't 10 parking spots.
had 7, and I think they had some provisions for bicycle parking as well.
So I'm just
to
worried if,
Make up for those 3 probably.
I'm counting 9, but the other thing about this is
I was
they,
looking
oh,
at
I'm
MBS.
sorry, I see 2 there, okay.
I was looking at the words, whatever's, yeah.
Another
on there,
concern I
don't know.
have is that alleyway is kind of made more for if we have catastrophic hail damage or anything like that, it's a way that we can move dumpsters. If we utilize this entire alleyway for this business, we have no way of actually getting our roofing redone or anything like that. We have no other spots aside from streets. It's really gonna congest 22nd Street if we need to do any repairs or anything like that. So I'm just concerned with the property space and the usage of that as well.
Derek, go back one quick.
But these are just concerns. You guys know better than I
1,
do,
2,
so I'm just
3, 6.
saying my
Yeah,
concerns.
there's
The
6
alleyway.
regular and 1 handicap.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
alleyway would have to stay
Yeah,
an alleyway.
Yeah, and the 2 on the side, I think that's like a drop-off type of lane.
because that alleyway is super narrow. You can only fit 1 car through it. It's not like you can put 2 cars side by side. That's kind of all my concerns. I think you covered lighting. Lighting's a big one. The person that lives directly behind here, that's like right up next to them, and they enjoy their backyard, so. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming down.
well, I certainly appreciate the concerns on the parking. My personal views on that is we want to minimize parking. Surface parking is not a good thing. We want to build as little of it as is necessary. And would you like to comment on the parking provision?
Certainly understand the concern. From eye care, what I know about the eye care operation across the metro area is that they are developing new eye care urgent clinics in surrounding areas around the city. The ones that I'm familiar with in the city that are in the strip malls are twice the size of this facility, 3,000 to 3,500 square feet. And I'm thinking that the client, the doctor's group, recognizes it's a small spot, but it's a needed spot, they think. It's good for a business spot, I would think they would say. The interior plan of the building right now, I think has 2 exam rooms and support spaces like lab and break room and doctor's office. So it doesn't have a lot of planned exam rooms. So I'm thinking they anticipate somewhat of a lower scale operation because of the size of the facility.
The other thing I would probably add to this, and I don't know anything about private agreements between adjacent business owners, but there's a T-Mobile shop that has a parking lot that is rarely full there, if anyone other than the employees and maybe 1 or 2 customers parking. So I believe that the overflow, if there is overflow, is not going to block the alley, that there's sufficient space, but it's a valid concern. I think if I would, appreciating the concerns, I feel like the avoiding any nuisances to the residents behind us was my main concern, and so I know site-proof screening is a requirement, and if we can get that additional lighting TE, I still personally am in support of the case. But I'd like to open it up to anyone else that might have questions or concerns.
None here. Do you want to take a run at that second TE?
Sure. Let's say is full cutoff fixtures? Is that the terminology we usually use? No.
That's
I'm gonna-
that's what I hear. That's the term I hear most often.
Yeah, I'm going to say, okay, so I'm going to move to recommend approval to City Council of SPUD 1529, including TE1 and adding a TE2 that reads, full cutoff fixtures shall be used for any pole-mounted lighting. No wall packs directed towards adjacent residential properties shall be used.
I think that's good. So I have a motion to recommend item SPUD 1529 to City Council per the amended TEs. It's been seconded by Commissioner Noble. Please cast your votes when available. That item passes. Good luck with your project. Takes us to item 6.
Item 6 is PUD 1674-SP07, application for a specific plan pursuant to the approval of PUD 1674, located at 3908 Northeast 104th Street.
Good afternoon, Mark Zitzel, Johnson & Associates, address 20 Sheridan Avenue. This is a specific plan application that conforms to the PUD. We would ask for your approval.
This is Commissioner Pennington's ward, and he is obviously not here. Do we have any commissioners that have questions or comments on the application?
I do not.
Do we have anyone signed up to speak? I do not see anyone. All right, I think we're ready for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to recommend approval to PUD 1674, specific plan 7.
I have a motion to recommend approval to City Council of item PUD 1674 SP07.
Mr. Chair, just to clarify, approve.
Oh, approve. Okay, thank you for that clarification. We have a motion to approve item PUD 1674 SP07 from Commissioner Govine. It's been seconded by Commissioner Noble. Please cast your votes. That item passes. Takes us to item 7.
Item 7 is CE 1102, application to close the 15-foot wide east-west alley in Block 58 of Putnam Heights, Second Edition, and a portion of the platted street right-of-way for Boulevard located north of Northwest 40th Street and west of North Youngs Boulevard.
Good afternoon, Mark Zitzel with Johnson & Associates, 1 East Sheridan Avenue. This is a property that you saw earlier this year for a rezoning to allow for a personal storage building to be constructed on this site. So this application seeks to close the east-west alley and a portion of what is a boulevard on the northwest corner of it. There's one TE that we agree to. We want to add a second TE after conversation with staff based on the language that they had in there of the portion they've asked us to remove. So in lieu of removing that portion, we're going to add the second TE, which is to provide a revised legal description for the boulevard to Public Works review and approval prior to docketing at City Council. When we get our survey completed, we're going to remove a portion of that where it's along the top of the bank from the channel. So we're in agreement with what Public Works is needing. It's just not until that field work can we provide that revised legal.
This is Commissioner Powers' ward. Was not made aware of any concerns or questions that she had. Do any other commissioners have comments?
Do we need to propose language to add that second TE on the surveying of?
So the language that Barry and I worked through prior to the meeting was that we agree to provide a revised legal description for Boulevard to Public Works for their review and approval prior to docketing at City Council.
Okay. Is there a set distance of I understand. I mean, was there an agreement of 10 feet from the top of survey, top of the bank?
So there's an agreement that the top of bank needs to be identified, and we're going to pull it back 10 feet, but that line moves. And so to avoid trying to tie that down and tie their hands, we're in complete agreement of what they want. That's where the portion of the TE that says with their review and approval and prior to city council, we can provide that. So if we provide a legal and they're not happy with it, we have to revise it until we get there. But we're in agreement with what they need.
Okay. Is that, would staff like to speak on that?
Yeah, Barry Lodge, Public Works. That is what we discussed, I discussed with Mark prior to the meeting. If we just set a distance off the top of the bank, that's going to be a real, very irregular line. And likely what we will set that at is a minimum of 10 feet. It could vary after they provide that legal, but it will be based on the actual topographic survey from the top of the bank of the existing channel.
I got it, okay.
And that's to allow access to the channel? So there's
Yes,
enough
yes,
room for
there's
repair?
existing concrete line channel in there, and that would give us an area for future maintenance access.
Okay, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Any other concerns?
Anything else?
Ready
I think
for a
we're ready
motion?
for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve, recommend approval of CE 1102.
I have a motion from Commissioner Govine to recommend approval of item CE 1102.
Including TE1 as written in the record and TE2 as read by the applicant.
Thank you.
We need to do all this, or did we?
So the recommendation was to remove the request to close in the staff report. Do we need to address that at all?
That would be a question for them. I don't know what TE2 does, takes care of.
Yeah, Sarah Welch, Planning Department, that's a fine approval.
Okay.
I mean, a fine recommendation.
Okay, so it sounds like we're good. So I have a motion from Commissioner Govine to recommend approval of item to City Council, item CE 1102. It's been seconded by Commissioner Noble. Please cast your votes when available. That item passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 8.
This is SPUD 1526, application to rezone 2008 North Portland Avenue from PUD 610 to PUD 1526.
All right.
George Vendros, 5800 North Porter Avenue, and I'm here to represent the applicant, Mr. Chow.
Could you do us a favor and pull that mic a little bit closer to you, please?
Sure. Is that better? There you go.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Please tell us about your application.
Okay, the application is for, there was PUD pulled prior on this location, and it was just too restrictive, so we wanted to put have more of an option for retail sales and so forth. We're not planning on doing anything to the building, where it's as is. I know that was a question that possible, but no, the building's staying as is.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Govine, this is your ward.
Yes, okay. We've discussed this. I understand the old PUD was oddly written and limited you to 2,137 square feet of commercial use. So, and you have, the applicant has spaces that are open, they can't lease because they're limited with the current, so that's why you're here. The only concern I had, which it's not so much as a concern as I'm trying to help make sure that you don't have a new problem to solve later, which is to add a T on parking. So that in the write-up, it says parking shall be per base zoning district. Because this is existing site, existing building, it's an old a good old example of community commercial. So it's built closer to the street, which I believe is a good thing, and I'm glad you don't plan to tear the building down. So I would propose, if you're agreeable to it, that we add a TE that says we strike parking per the base zoning, item 2.6, and we add a TE that says, "The existing on-site parking shall be deemed adequate for the proposed uses.
Okay.
If the structures are demolished, the parking shall be per the base zoning." If the structure is demolished, the parking shall be per the base zoning.
We're in agreement with that.
Okay?
All right.
If there's no one else signed up to speak or any other questions from commissioners,
I don't have anyone signed up to speak.
then I will move to recommend approval of SPUD 1526 with the TE as read.
We have a motion from Commissioner Govine to recommend approval to City Council of item SPUD 1526. It's been seconded by Commissioner Privet. Please cast your votes when available. That item passes.
Thank you.
Good luck with your project. Takes us to item 9.
I'm back.
Item 9 is SPUD 1527, application to rezone 2041 Southeast 44th Street from I-1 to SPUD 1527.
George Mendros, 5800 North Porter. Again, the applicant, I'm here to represent the applicant, Mr. Ahmed, and this is basically for a car parking area. So it is screened, and that was one of the problems, is that they said that there was not adequate screening and the cars were being able to see from 44, so we remedied that. And also the inspector, that was one thing that he requested, is that we go from I-1 to I-2 in order to make this for parking.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Privet, this is your ward.
With the existing zoning surrounding it, I really didn't have any issues whatsoever.
I don't see anyone signed up to speak. I'll just ask, confirm that. Is there, if
No.
anyone wants to be heard on the item?
Anybody's
No?
here? If not, I will move to,
One thing, I just want to ask a few questions before you do that, but what's the current screening?
It's inserts in chain link. Inserts,
chain link.
How tall is the fence?
8 foot.
8 foot tall? Okay. And I don't know if this makes a difference, but is storage any different than parking? Because it seems that these aren't parked, they're stored.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Mainly a question for staff.
Okay, sorry. I can't answer that.
Because to me, what I was saying is that it doesn't look like these cars are parked, it more looks like they're stored. They're just,
Well, they take parts of them and restore the other cars there, and then the rest of the parts that aren't used are shipped out. So if that helps.
It does look like their zoning, though, would give them automotive and equipment storage as well as parking lots, so
Right.
either one, I guess.
It's not the most beautiful piece of property, but it's there.
yeah, and that's what I was wondering, if they were just changing
That's
the
great.
zoning to
Yeah.
try to deal with what they had there.
Yeah, I mean, it's full of cars right now, looks like a scrapyard as
Yeah.
it
So
exists.
Sarah Welch, Planning Department, they're currently zoned I-1, which doesn't allow the outdoor storage of vehicles. This SPUD specifically, they're specifically asking for all the uses they might possibly need in order to be able to store vehicles outdoors. I think for this particular property, the most important thing is that they're all stored behind the fence.
Correct.
Right.
Anything else? Commissioner Privet?
Okay, I will move to recommend approval SPUD 1527.
We have a motion from Commissioner Privet to recommend approval to City Council of item SPUD 1527. It's been seconded by Commissioner Govine. Please cast your votes when available. That item passes.
Thank you.
Good luck with your project.
Thank you.
Takes us to item 10.
This is SPUD 1524, application to rezone 9102 Northwest Expressway from R1.
Yes, hi, Mr. Chairman and members of the commission. My name is Kelly Work. My address is 105 North Hudson, Suite 304, and I'm here on behalf of the applicants Darren and Gail Rice. This is a request to rezone this approximately 2.1 acre tract from the existing R1 into what will be a commercial SPUD. And as you can see, the properties on both to the west and to the east are zoned for commercial use. PUD 116 allows general commercial use, and then SPUD 1202 to the east also allows general commercial use. The front of this property, which is identified as PUD 1122, is also owned by Darren and Gail Rice. And what has brought this application about is there to the east on the south side of the Northwest Expressway is the collision center body shop that's operated by the Toyota dealership that is located in the area. And they have outgrown that space, and they approached us about leasing part of this 2.1 acre tract to park vehicles there. So that is not a permitted use, of course, in R1, so it necessitated us bringing this application in an SPUD. And so this SPUD would allow that use as well as just general commercial use. I'm not aware of any protests. There was not any written protest that was submitted. I do want to address the TEs that are in the staff report. There are two that are listed. The first of those we agree to, and that change has already been made and submitted in a revised design statement to the staff. The second addresses the landscape buffer along the south boundary. The SPUD proposes a 10-foot landscape buffer, and we would like to retain that language, but we would propose to enhance it with some additional provisions. And what we would propose is that that TE number 2 be modified to read, a 10-foot landscape buffer shall be required along the southern boundary of the SPUD. Within the landscape buffer, shade trees, a minimum 2.5-inch caliper in size, shall be planted 20 foot on center for the length of the southern boundary. The trees to be planted shall be upright, narrow in growth habit, such as bald cypress or similar. Additionally, an 8-foot tall wood screening fence shall be provided along the entire length of the southern boundary. There, in our discussions that we had with Commissioner Clare, there are existing overhead utility lines, so he offered the suggestion about including that language about the type of tree to be provided be the upright and narrow in growth habits such as bald cypress or similar. So space is going to be at a premium here, so that's why we're requesting this modification to TE number 2. And with that proposed change, we would request your approval. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Yeah, so this is my ward, and I did have some email correspondence back and forth with Mr. Work. The concern was there are power lines along that south boundary, so we can't, wouldn't be prudent to plant large canopy trees because ultimately the electric provider is going to just come in and butcher them. So that's where we crafted that language. I do have a question that we didn't really talk about, and that was site lighting. Is there any proposed site lighting on the property?
None that is proposed at this time. There will be fencing, of course. It will be secured, and we're happy to include some language if it was needed to ensure that any site lighting would be directed away from the adjacent residential area.
Yeah, I would think that would be my preference if we could add an additional TE that would say any pole-mounted light fixtures be full cutoff fixtures, providing shielding from adjacent residential.
We're happy to include that as well.
So, any other commissioners have comments?
Yeah, my concern is the big hunk of gravel, you know, a big square of gravel right in front of a house, and, you know, how's that gonna affect on a windy day when it's, you know, the wind's blowing to the south? And they're getting dusted by gravel cars going in and out.
That's a fair point. Also, we do have an exhibit here that shows some site topography, but I can't really see which direction that's
Yeah,
draining.
It looks like just the GIS available data.
What is
Looks
the, what is
like the
surface?
residential is the high side, so it looks to be draining away from,
Or is it expressway?
draining toward Expressway.
What is the surface that they put down?
It is, it will be done in accordance, and this is what the PUD does provide, that the pervious paving material is allowed to be provided under the Oklahoma City code, so long as you obtain Public Works Department approval. So that is the language that is presented or provided in the SPUD. So it would require to meet Public Works Department approval. So I'm not able to give you the specific details of that, but
I'll ask Barry to come up and tell us. 'Cause
it would be only what they would allow.
I am not aware of what the standards are for pervious paving either. The general policy has been that we do not allow permanent parking to be a pervious type pavement. It has always been required, if it's going to be counted as a permanent parking, that it has to be constructed out of asphalt or concrete.
Right.
That's kind of my question, and goes towards the wind and moving the gravel. If it's just loose gravel, it's one thing, but if it's asphalt millings or actual asphalt,
Yeah,
you wouldn't
right.
have
and-
a problem.
Yeah, not near as a problem, to me anyways.
Well, perhaps I'm misinformed, but I had understood there were some guidelines that had been adopted by the Public Works Department for pervious paving. So perhaps we need to take some time to visit with the Public Works Department about that before we move forward.
Okay. Sarah,
Hey, Sarah Welch, Planning Department. A few years ago, we came up with the language that you see in your PUD that specifically allows pervious paving in some instances. So we still require that you pave the approach. It can only be used in certain circumstances. But when the PUD or an SPUD includes that language, then our plan review or development center has some criteria they apply that requires a maintenance plan and things. So it wouldn't be something probably in Barry's world that would be handled through the development center.
okay.
I do have a set of those criteria that was provided to me that I'm happy to visit with Public Works Department, that I understood was published by the Public Works Department. Okay. Well, whatever those criteria are, we will certainly meet them. We understood that there were criteria that were available to be applied where pervious paving is proposed, and that's what we would request.
I can be assured that it won't be gravel and, like,
Right,
pesky
I
caliche
don't
gravel,
believe
then
gravel is pervious
I'm
paving,
good
so.
for it, but the gravel deal's a deal killer for me. Just straight gravel, you know. You know, like the white stuff with the white, you know, that stuff, I don't, you know.
We may want to put that in, because I'm not sure do these guidelines allow for just straight gravel to be put down? Or do we?
I'm going from memory now, but I do not recall that gravel is usually included. This PUD allowed for both gravel and for grass, and we suggested eliminating the grass because the intent was for gravel. They're here today asking for gravel.
But it's not normally allowed
It's
as part
not
of the
normally
guidelines.
part of, this was several years ago. It was something the planning department worked with several different departments on about how to come up with a way for people to be able to do pervious paving, because that's supported in our comprehensive plan. And the only way we could come up with doing it, except for changing our code, was to create this language that can be inserted into a PUD or SPUD, and then work out the system and the maintenance plan with, at the development stage, at the permitting stage.
And we've had
And we,
one or two.
I can send that to you.
We've had one or two of these in the past, and those situations were different. I mean, they were in industrial areas, and, you know, there was no houses, and that's the biggest part for me, is the residential to the south. I might get past that.
If it would be helpful, if it would be helpful to the object was to, in our opinion, was to try to minimize the amount of hard surface paving that was going to be located on the site. So that's what we thought. We would take advantage of the pervious paving criteria that has been published. If the commission desires for us to get some additional information about what exactly is proposed and to make assurances that it will, in fact, meet the criteria that has been published, we're happy to take the time to do that. So if that would be helpful, we'll take that time and
Yeah, I
come back
think
to you.
there's a little bit more information needed, so.
Sure.
Would you be okay with 2 weeks?
That would be fine, yes, sir. Or I guess there's just one meeting in June, so.
Okay, 22nd?
Right,
Okay,
Second,
yeah,
okay.
that'll be fine.
all right.
I can make that motion.
Okay.
Continue case SPUD 1524 to, what date did you say, June?
6/22.
6/22? Okay.
I have a motion from Commissioner Privet to continue the item to the June 22nd meeting. It's been seconded by Commissioner Noble. Please cast your votes.
Thank you.
All right,
We'll
thank
see
you.
you then.
All right, item 11.
This is case PUD 1750.
Oh, yeah, to do it right.
15 SPO3, application for a specific plan pursuant to the approval of PUD 1715, located at 5001 North Pennsylvania Avenue.
Good afternoon, David Box, 522 Colcord Drive. If you celebrate the Stoli Doli like my wife does, this application will surely excite you. This is the latest application in the series of specific plans that you'll see. In terms of where this will be located on the site, if you've driven by the site, this will be the hard corner at Penn and Northwest Highway. You've seen the site plan. This will be the hard corner, then you'll have RH, then you'll have what is next on the docket. So it conforms to the PUD. Capital Grille is an exciting entrant into this market. They're in most big markets across the country, so it'll be a nice piece to add to the Oak development. Happy to answer any questions.
This is Commissioner Powers Ward, and she's not here. Is there any questions or comments from other commissioners?
Now I know why red carpet sold out.
All right. Do I have anyone signed up to speak on this item? All right, I think we're ready for a motion.
Team 15 SPO3.
I have a motion from Commissioner Govine to approve item PUD 1715 SPO6. Do I have a second? It's been seconded by Commissioner Privet. Please cast your votes when available. That item passes. Item 12.
Item 12 is PUD 1715, SP06, application for a specific plan pursuant to approval of PUD 715, located at 2120 Northwest Expressway.
Once again, David Box, 522 Colcord Drive. This is one of those 3 pad sites along Northwest Highway. It's the furthest west pad site and will be up against the multifamily that you see rising out of the ground now. So this complies with the PUD requirements. Happy to answer any questions.
All right. Any questions or comments from commissioners?
Very punny name.
All right, I think we're ready for a motion.
I'll move to approve, sorry, bear with me, PUD 1715 SP06.
A motion from Commissioner Govine to approve item PUD 1715 SP06. It's been seconded by
Oh.
Commissioner Privet. Please
Sorry.
cast your votes, please.
I didn't know you had that, my bad.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 13 has been deferred. Thank you. Item 14.
Item 14 is case PC 10886, application to rezone 5424 Southeast 89th Street from C1 to C3.
Is the applicant present for this?
My name is Nancy Brewer, and I reside at 5585 North Luther Road in Hera. I am guilty of not doing due diligence. I'd called the planning department. We've never been to Oklahoma City to zone something before. So I naively just filled out the zoning, and then I had got a call from one of the planning commission members, and he said, well, he wanted to, give me a warning that probably it would not be approved. And then I've spoken with Mr. Privet several times, and we obviously, I guess we're going to have to do the spud. I had never, I knew what a PUD was. I did not know what a spud was.
It's the same, it's just smaller.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And this property is a little over 29,000 square feet. We have a letter of commitment from Domino's, but it is zone C1, and they wanted for us to get the zoning. So they are looking at other places. Mr. Privet told me that the best I could do today probably was to get a continuance and then hire Mr. Box to do me a spud. And the realtor was not able to get in touch with Domino's. They were, something. So without a commitment a definite commitment, we have a letter of intent, but part of that was for the zoning. So until they say they will purchase the property, there's no point in our going forward because you have to have specifics in a spud, as I understand it. So that is, I wish you would zone it, obviously.
I wish I would have known that was you. I would have talked to you and maybe kept you from having to sit in that seat for
Yeah, I
so
started
long.
to, when you came in, and you walked out the door, so.
So it sounds to me like there's a little bit to be worked out on
Yeah,
this.
we're gonna work it out, and she's gonna resubmit as an SPUD.
Okay.
So we can protect that house that's next door to the
I think that makes sense.
Domino's. I'm okay with the Domino's, but not with the straight zoning. So we gotta be make sure no speaker boxes.
I'm going to ask staff if we continued this to the June 22nd meeting, is that sufficient, or we need more time?
I think it will be, and she'll probably decide to continue it again.
Well,
Just
our
to get-
recommendation was to June 13th because our notices go
renotice.
out next Friday for our June agenda, so we
July.
don't, July 13th, yeah.
What is today?
Okay.
I don't know what I
I
just
don't know
said.
what day it is. Thursday.
All right. Would you be agreeable to the continuance until July 13th?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I will make that motion. Continue. What case are we on? PC 10886 to the next June 13th meeting.
July.
July 13th meeting.
I have a motion from Commissioner Privet to continue the item to July 13th. We have a second. It's been seconded by Commissioner Govine. Please cast your votes. That item passes. We'll see you again on July 13th.
And could I guess I'll talk to Mr. Privet about how I go about this whole thing? Because
Staff,
We can help you. I think while we're here, though, if it's okay, could we just hear from the commission some of the, are we looking at probably like a C1 base adding? Are you okay with fast food drive-through? That's the only uses they really needed for their potential buyer, but as we work with them to try to craft a SPUD, are there certain things?
Okay without any drive-throughs or window drive-through with a speaker. She just said it, she needed a pickup window.
Okay, so they may need the drive-through use, just no call box.
Yeah,
and there's no adjacent residence zoned AA right now.
right.
Everything else around them C3.
And then the hard corner is C3 also. It's almost there, it's just that one last house that's sticking right there between that and the school. Right down the street from my house. I'd love for it to develop the rest of that corner.
Okay. Thank you. Items 15 and 16 have been continued. Takes us to item 17.
Item 17 is case PC 10870, application to rezone 3037 Northeast 23rd Street from I-2, R1, and C3 to I-2.
Is the applicant present? It does not appear that we have an applicant present for this item. We can, well, as I'm looking ahead, so we do not, this is the last item on our agenda, so rather than put it at the end, it is at the end already. So with no applicant, I would suggest that this be continued.
Move to continue to our next meeting. whenever
That would
is. That'd
be the June 22nd.
June 22nd.
So I have a motion. Oh, it's staff recommendation is July 13th.
Sarah Welch, Planning Department. It's only because when this was heard many meetings ago, we expected them to file a PUD, and we have not had one filed. And I reached out to them this morning for the status update, and we haven't heard back. So the July 13th would be the soonest we could possibly put a PUD on the agenda, should they file soon.
Okay, then let's go with that then.
All right, we have a motion to continue the item to the July 13th meeting. It's been seconded by Commissioner Govine. Please cast your votes. And that item passes. That brings us to additional items on the agenda, communications and reports, Planning Commission committees. None. Planning Commission.
We do have the school annual thing coming up to July, is it July 5th? June 5th? June 5th? June 6th? Is it? All right, I gotta look at my calendar, I guess. That's coming up, so.
I saw the email about that meeting, and it's limited to a certain number, so is there a
Yeah, and
process for figuring out who needs to
Matt
be
was
there?
on it, I believe, so somehow we can appoint
I believe
another.
last year it was Commissioner Cravens and Commissioner Hinkle.
And me, yeah.
They're asking for wards 1, 3, 5, and 8.
That's right, they had a list.
Okay, yeah, because they already got me.
So I guess through the emails, if those commissioners can attend, great. If one of them can't,
It just
someone
can't
else
be a
can
quorum.
volunteer.
Yeah, it can't be a quorum.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Anything else from commission members? Planning Department?
Just a real quick one to mention, the code update, so the base districts, we've sent those for review out to the stakeholder advisory team, so some of You may have, should have received that. If you haven't, please let me know. So that's where we are right now.
I'm saving that for the weekend. It's a good meeting.
Yeah, it's good reading.
All right, thank you. Municipal Counselor's Office. All right. Any citizens to be heard? I see none. Other business? All right. With that, we are adjourned.